Alright, welcome Saints Nation. We're back with some League of Legends action. It feels like it's been a little while, but it's good to get back here as we're here for the Teemo Cup semifinals. Of course, we have Shawnee State University up against St. Clair College in this instance. We're hopping into game number 1, the pick and ban phase already in progress. My name is Dan Banner, also known as Mr. Danners. Once again, going to be your producer and host and commentator and all sorts of stuff here for you all tonight as we get into this best of 3 action. Start off with a couple of bands, of course. Seraphine, Rel, and Ivor are going to be picked off on the side of St. Clair, and we're going to see Frez basically just get targeted here. Anivia gets taken down, Kiana taken down, and then take a shot at Mansfo as well with the Alistair ban. Now on the side of St. Clair for the first couple picks, we have Karma, Olaf, Jinx to start things off. Meanwhile, on the side of Shawnee State, we do have the Hecarim, the Caitlyn, and the Orianna. So picking some of these carry players right now pretty early here for the side of Shawnee State alongside the very strong jungler in Hecarim. Fair enough there. Of course, your hometown squad, your main roster here for tonight, as always. In case you forgot about them over the 3 weeks or so we haven't had League of Legends, of course, that's going to be Kubra up in the top lane. We have Active Force in the jungle. Frez going to be in the mid lane. Lazi, the AD carry in the bot lane. And Miensfo on support in the bot lane as well. Meanwhile, our opponents, Shawnee State University, we've seen these guys before. We have Arctic Wolf up in the top lane, Jerbear in the jungle, the Humble Gamer in mid lane. Mitch Fortune was an absolute thorn in our side. I remember the last time we played these guys, and he's there in the AD carry role alongside Godzilla Flip in support role. The last bands on the table is going to end up being the Volibear, Zoe, Morgana, and the Shen. So pretty fair stuff there. We did see Kubra before pretty consistently picking up that Volibear. And then seeing the Zoe get taken down as well, that's another shot towards Frez. So they're really trying to stretch his hero pool, to say the least here, or his champion pool for today's first game. And then we have a couple of flexible options here on the side of St. Clair. Because the Galio and the Karma, those could be in multiple different lanes. So I like the fact that they first off picked Karma first, because you're not going to know which lane that's going into. And then the Galio doesn't show nothing either. The Scion going to be picked up on the side of Shawnee State, more than likely going into the hands of Arctic Wolf. And then shout out, of course, to the Teemo Cup itself. We're going to hover that Teemo for a little bit longer, but more than likely not going to be locked in. Sure enough, it is going to be Godzilla Flip picking up Thresh here for game number 1. Now, last pick here, in theory, is for Kubra. But that being said, a couple of these champions, like I was saying before, could go to multiple different lanes. Have the Yuumi hovered, this would definitely be different here for St. Clair. Not much of a Yuumi, and sure enough, this does make sense. We're starting to get gnarly right off the start here. Kubra is Panta de Gnar coming in to start off game number 1. I'm sure some of the fans will be pleased to see that. Gnar, I know personally I'm pleased as well. And I wonder what Coach Zeddy had to say, what he had to do in order to get Frez actually on the Galio, because I know even though Galio is a relatively strong mid laner with constant map pressure, being able to ult himself basically halfway across the map if he feels like it, it is not Frez's, or one of Frez's personal favorites. So seeing him on that character, or on his champion, does surprise me a little bit. Meanwhile, down in the bot lane, Lassie's been picking up the Jinx a little bit more frequently over the last month or so. Then Mensfo on the Karma, I mean, it's definitely going to make me a little bit nervous, and I'll explain why in just a second. There we go. Hello there. Oh, I'm pretty tall here today. Catching me off guard a little bit. Let's fix that up right away before my OCD gets too crazy. There we go. Okay, so anytime we have Mensfo on a support that isn't necessarily a playmaker, I feel like the Saints just seem to kind of struggle. We will oftentimes see, like, whether it be Mansfo on the Leona, the the Alistair or even Brahmin or something like that. Some sort of playmaker. He just does really good job overall. And the Karma, the Enchanter kind of style supports have not necessarily hit the mark. But with the Alistair band and honestly being able to kind of boost everybody's speed to this Karma just might make it so that Active Force gets to go nuts, which is another thing too. I kind of glossed over the fact that Active Force got his Olaf, which of course has been one of his go-to I'm going to carry you kind of junglers. So it's going to be difficult here for Shawnee State, but that being said, they have quite the playmaking opposition for themselves. Arctic Wolf just going to be the biggest body as possible in front as the tank on that Scion. Jerbear on the Hecarim, there's your engagement alongside the Orianna from the Humble Gamer, with that Shockwave, of course. Mitch Fortune, he picked up the Caitlyn in a prior matchup versus us. It looks like he's going to be picking it right back up here in tonight's first game. And then Godzilla Flip on the Thresh as well. I do believe that's another returning pick here from him. So basically sticking with what they know and going to be a good battle here for this first one. Of course, I want to give a big thank you to everybody who's already tuning in, ready to go for this matchup. Now, personally, definitely a little excited to get some League of Legends action underway. And before we do end up hopping into game number one, I do want to give a quick sponsor shout out, of course, to everybody who makes it possible here at the St. Clair Saints Varsity Esports team. Of course, that being St. Clair College itself, the Zeckelman School of Business and Information Technology, St. Clair's SRC, the St. Clair College Alumni Association, PC Outlet, and Tim Hortons. Thank you all for making this all possible here at the St. Clair Saints Varsity Esports team. Well, without further ado, we got in there pretty hot, but I think we've basically covered everything that we necessarily needed to touch on. We're going to be hopping in just a second. And I guess to kind of explain what this whole Teemo Cup is, in case it's like the first time you're joining us here for it. Now, of course, over the entire Collegiate League of Legends series, or season, the CLOL, if you don't make the top half, you don't make, I guess, the initial playoffs, but you do still make Teemo Cup, which Teemo Cup is basically a tournament for everybody who didn't make playoffs to go compete in. That being said, just because it's not necessarily like the top teams, it's still a very tough tournament. Our Saints over the past couple of weeks, if you've been following on Twitter, have been successfully able to make their way through the bracket pretty far. I think this is technically their fourth game of the tournament over the last month or so of play. Like over the last 3 weeks, they've been doing quite solidly. Haven't been able to get those matches broadcasted per se because there's been other matches and other things going on. But now we do have ourselves the opportunity to do so, so we might as well catch it while they're here. And with them being so far into this tournament, definitely a good time to hop into the swing of things. Because the scary thing about this Teemo Cup too, it's only single elimination. So one bad series and that is toast for them. And getting to talk with a couple of the players or even Coach Zeddy a little bit prior to this match actually happening, maybe a couple days ago, they went into this like rather extremely confident, to be completely fair, especially the coach, especially Zeddy, who was going on and on saying that I don't see a way that we don't 2-0 these kids, is the quote, to say the least. But obviously, all due respect to everybody involved, but that is definitely a confident coach, to say the least there. And I'm sure the players are just as confident as well, considering they have taken them down before. But that being said, I mean, we've seen this before, even just this week, when the Overwatch team went to go up against Southern New Hampshire University. It was a team that they clean swept 2 or 3-0 even in the last time they had played. Then all of a sudden SNHU just comes out and gets the 2-1 victory over us. So it can definitely switch on a moment's notice with the amount of practice that these teams have been doing. Shawnee State, I mean, they're absolutely no slouches in their own right. Fantastic squad, of course. Without further ado, I think you're tired of looking at my face and listening to me speak. So without further ado, let's get into the game, why don't we? Shawnee State going to be on the blue side of things, St. Clair on the red. Are we going to see any sort of early shenaniganery? We shall see. More than likely for the side of St. Clair, probably not. I feel like they don't have really any tools to really make something happen. If anything, it would be the side of Shawnee State with the Thresh Hook that could possibly make an early play. It looks like Saints are just going to line of scrimmage across the riverside. Small mini invade here with 3 of the members of Shawnee State. Looking just to cause a little bit of a nuisance. Drop a ward on there. Not going to be killed, so Active Force's position shall be spotted out, but we don't know for sure if he's staying there. And mid's Discord broke, so it looks like we're already having ourselves a pause here in this matchup. Definitely unfortunate. I guess you're stuck with me just a little bit longer here. So, yeah, I guess you kind of need communication. Unfortunately, therefore, the Humble Gamer, his Discord stopped working, which in theory should just be a very quick fix. Probably just a power off, power on situation in just a moment. Taking a look at some of you beautiful people here in the Twitch chat, we already do have some Gnar love there for Kubra 3 up in the top lane. So that's what I like to see. Just everybody here to support their squad. See if they can push on further here in this tournament as well. And do you think that we're going to see a 4 to 5 player Gnar ult come out here from Kubra? Maybe I should make that a prediction, actually. We're going to quickly do that, actually, while they're in the midst of this early phase.
Minions have spawned.
And unfortunately here, as I was setting that up here, Miensfo is going to find himself in an absolutely awful position to the point where one flash auto could definitely do the trick, but not going to take him down. But they're going to keep their resources. The only thing blown from the side of Shawnee State was the exhaust, which, I mean, it's not necessarily the worst thing in the world. It's going to send Miensfo all the way back, meaning that level 2 fight is basically lost unless they kind of force him in here. So he's going to be forced to use his potions to try and stay in lane at basically half health. A bit of a rough spot there for him. Another huge hook right onto Miensfo again. 2 for 2 here for Godzilla Flip. First blood over to Mitch Fortune. Of all the players you don't want to get started here on this Shawnee State squad, he's definitely the one that you wouldn't want to be feeding over some kills to. The fact that he's got one already is very scary here for the side of St. Clair, but of course still extremely early here into this game. Well, back and forth here. Of course, sure, Frez might be able to do a little bit of burst damage, but the Humble Gamer has himself a little bit of more consistent damage there with that Orianna. And just kind of trade back. I know it's one of the worst things that you can do in lane is just take the damage and run away without firing back. And then now that we've hit level 3, Humble Gamer's got quite a few pieces of utility here, and it's just going to send Frez basically back to the spawn. So these lanes are, at least for the mid lane and the bot lane, Saints might be looking to take it late, because right now this is a very rough start. Kubra, however, up in this top lane, looking strong over Arctic Wolf. I mean, if he does get himself caught, he is nowhere near as tanky as Arctic Wolf is there on that Scion, so definitely has to be an elusive little Gnar to make sure he keeps leading this lane. Active Force hanging around the top lane just in case, but just going to find himself the crab and move on forward. No ganks as of yet until we do see Bear making an appearance down in the bot lane. There with the Lantern from Godzilla Flip's Thresh as well. Active Force finally making an appearance down the mid lane. Flash for flash. A taunt does actually make contact. Frez did not think it was going to work, and that is going to be the finishing blow there from Active Force. And that Olaf again is going to start things off beautifully. Getting himself on the board with 1 kill for himself. And Frez at least getting himself on the board with an assist. Active Force is going to get jumped on, however. Not going to be long from this one. Bear going to trade it up so that it's 1 kill for 1. Lazzy fires off the shot, but may have just sealed one of his teammates' fates. And it's going to be, oh, the extra little hook there onto Lassie. Nice little shot, 3 for 3 now for Godzilla Flip. And they're actually going to chase this down. Bear going all the way deep. Going to do a lot of damage to Lassie, but not going to put him into a position that they could follow up on. Shawnee State, 3 kills pretty quickly, plus a lot of additional farming. They are taking the lead here in this one. Start things off. Only 1,000 gold, but still solid nonetheless. There goes another one, too, onto Frez. So Bear is on an absolute tear. 3-0. And there we go. Just set it up for everybody there. So if you think that Kubra's Gnar is going to get gnarly with a 4 or 5 player ultimate at some point during this game, be sure to vote below with your channel points, of course. It is a bit of a tough task, but at the same time, we've seen him do it before, so definitely not unheard of. Bear on this Hecarim has been an absolute terror here for St. Clair to start things off. Is there basically to answer any aggression and then cause a little bit of damage for himself as well. This bot lane here, especially for poor Miensfo, is the one kind of getting picked on right now. And we see Narhi, or we see Kubra rather, gets level 6, pops the Gnar ultimate, and he's going to clean up Arctic Wolf extremely easy. Of course, zombie form Arctic Wolf going to try and do a little bit of extra damage, but to no cigar, Kubra going to be able to probably shove this in. No, he's going to keep it frozen, go back and get some items. Frez going to be met by the Humble Gamer here in the mid lane. Forced to dip out of that one, which is probably wise considering the roaming Godzilla Flip on that Thresh is nearby as well. It was kind of keeping the river as many options open because at the same time Bear so far ahead, he's going to just try and single-handedly take this dragon, which he should be able to do. I'll try and see in a second how far his progress is. There it goes. Right as Active Force was going to make an appearance to try and maybe get the dragon for himself. Ends up going down. Active Force starting the early engage. Ragnarok engaged, but the exhaust is on top of him, and he's going to get popped extremely quickly. We see time and time again, and we've heard even Coach Zeddy say in the past, how do you counter an Olaf? With just damage. Don't let him have a long fight. Don't let him lifesteal. Just burst him down and you're A-okay. And the fact that this Hecarim, Bear, 4 kills, 0 deaths so quickly into the game. It's only 7 minutes and 20 seconds into the game and he's got 4 kills. That is absolutely disgusting here. Kubra, level 7. Narbar completely filled up and ready to go. But Arctic Wolf going to learn from his mistakes from that last time by. And Godzilla Flip finally, well, I mean, his hook connects, but it's not going to be on the target that he was looking for the first time in a while anyway. Been doing a solid job there for whether it be for Mitch Fortune or for Bear setting up the squad for some kills. Taking a look right now, because we do have about another 30 seconds or so here on our prediction for game number 1. Will Cooper land a 4-player ult? As of right now, the majority of you are actually thinking that he will. So everybody has faith in the Kubra Gnar, and it's what we like to see. And to be fair, right now, it's basically the only lane on the side of St. Clair that I would consider winning. For 70 CS for himself compared to the 40 on Arctic Wolf. Hook going to miss there from Godzilla Flip, which is going to allow Lassie to do a bunch of damage. Nice little extra poke there from Miensfo as well. So Saints fighting back there in that bot lane as long as they can keep Lassie going here. He's behind, but not by that much, and it's not like he's missed on a lot of experience either, considering he's never died. Did have that one close call earlier in the game where Jerbear was trying to chase him down. It did not end up going down. Prez still having quite a hard time here in this mid lane, as the matchup in theory should be. The Orianna of the Humble Gamer just going to be constantly poking and prodding away. Dives on in, but it's going to be the flash away here from the Humble Gamer to keep himself alive away from that taunt. And Jerbear coming in hot. He's going to alterate on in, but he's going to have to get out of dodge. The teleport is coming in from Kubra. He's going to send himself back out of here. An awkward little position. Arctic Wolf is here as well. Going to take some decent damage. Ragnarok just popped, but it is not going to be for anything as of right now. Or using it for more for a retreat rather than an actual engagement. So, given the situation, Saints do get out of there pretty well scot-free. But now, tower plates are definitely on the menu. We got Godzilla Flip and Humble Gamer continuing to push down. They do score one. A little bit of gold for each of them. Godzilla Flip caught out a little bit. It's going to be shielded up here by Miensfo as well, so a little bit of extra speed. It's going to force the box to come out, and of course, Activeforce already used his Ragnarok, so he's not going to be able to just power through it. Looking for one more, and actually, oh, there's a stopwatch. Cute little move there for Godzilla Flip to make sure that Undertow did not actually make contact with him. Keeps himself alive. Just realized we didn't have our timers on here, so let's take a look and see when this next dragon's coming up. So about 45 seconds or so. Next objective will be on the board. We're probably going to see our Saints squad start backing up. We do see Active Force, Lazi, Miensfo, pretty much majority of the team anyway, backed up, ready to go for what's more than likely going to be another team fight. But I cannot imagine, unless Kubra can pull off an amazing ultimate, I cannot see a team fight really going in St. Clair's favor. I think there's still, even this early on, I think there's just still too much potential with Jerbear popping off for them to do too much damage, of course. And if Lassie takes a lot of damage prior to this fight even going down too, that would definitely be bad. We do see Mitch Fortune making things a little bit difficult there for Lassie. We do see Shelly coming up here. Saints did find themselves the Rift Herald at some point, and they're going to be pushing down on this turret. And one thing to also take note of, I was saying how a team fight 5v5 right here for St. Clair would involve Kubra popping off a little bit, but he does not have teleports, and they're starting the dragon anyway. Is there going to be any sort of contest? Actually, not as of this moment. That was actually scarily close. Oddly enough there from Shawnee State, they're going to just let Saints take care of that. Inferno Drake Soul is going to be the soul here for today's first game. So, one of the more important ones considering the amount of damage that lets you do. Very surprised that the side of Shawnee State didn't try to make the play there, but in the end, it is going to be one Drake for one Drake now. Another 4 minutes and 20 seconds here before the next one does come into play. So we've got a little bit of time prior to anything going down. 2 minutes for a Rift Herald might be something on the eyes of St. Clair, considering they got the first one. But other than the really rough, I guess, the first 7-8 minutes or so for St. Clair, after those few minutes, it did kind of slow down a little bit. Saints stopped trying to find some crazy plays. They've slowed things down. They're just kind of farming up. And in that regard, they're actually doing all right. Lazzie's keeping up here with Mitch Fortune. Mitch is ahead a little bit, of course, in regards to CS. Does have the kills and assists in the bank as well, so it's something definitely to take into consideration. Then, of course, Kubra up in the top lane is absolutely destroying this lane in regards to CS, with having the 1 kill and then 115 compared to 70 side of Arctic Wolf. He's got so much more money in the bank. He's got the level advantage as well. Arctic Wolf can basically not do anything to him right there. In regards to Shawnee State, however, like for the most part, other than that top lane, looking rather nice. Right now, Humble Gamer does have the Ludens and is in the lead of that mid lane in regards to CS as of this moment as well. May not have any kills for himself, but has so much assists that it's basically going to make up for it. Trinity Force complete here for Jerbear already as well. So this pony, this Hecarim, is going to hit like a truck. So heavy engage alongside some heavy damage. Unstoppable Onslaught is going to be absolutely brutal. Actually, quiz myself. Is that what it's called? Onslaught of Shadows. Okay, I was half right this time by. See, Twitch chat, I don't mind calling myself out. Active Force is making a trip towards the Rift Herald now, considering it just spawned. Then here's just the lane in a nutshell here for Kubra. As long as he's able to like stay at range and not get jumped on, that he can just basically bully Arctic Wolf out of lane. And Sion is not exactly the kind of champion to have a extremely fast dash of any sorts. Always very slow. The Gnar ultimate being used up in the top lane. Not going to be the death of him, but here comes the Onslaught of Shadows. Diving right on through. We're going to see Frez try to make an appearance to try and turn this, but he's relatively low. The beautiful hook coming out here. Mitch Fortune going to try and dive on in. Miensfo and Frez just kind of dancing back and forth. But while they do get Lassie down in this bot lane, that is going to be the first turret down in the top lane, and it's going to be Shawnee trading for a turret for themselves as well. Can Saints find themselves another that would maybe make this even? Shelly is still here. That should do about half of it. Okay, more like 3/4. It always surprises me how much damage that thing does. Shelly's headbutt is definitely not one to be messed with. Can he get one more? Not quite. He is going to go down right outside the inhibitor turret. So 2 turrets for St. Clair. 1 kill on a turret for the side of Shawnee State. So basically, all in all, a bit of an even trade. Dragon going to be up within the next 15 seconds here. Saints are already on their way, but at the same time, so is Shawnee State. We could very well have ourselves a 5-on-5, and I like Saints' chances much better in this fight if they do take it quickly, because there is no Onslaught of Shadows for Jerbear's Hecarim. And that is going to be a big ultimate gone. That being said, though, he can still dive on in with Humble Gamer's Shockwave. A nice little box use there for Godzilla Flip to try and slow Saints down. The fight underway. It's going to be the first kill. Mitch Fortune is already down. A huge kill for the side of St. Clair. Kubra full Gnar bar. When is he going in? That's going to be the 2-player ultimate going through. A big knockup coming out of Arctic Wolf. He's trying his damnedest to turn this fight, but it is going to be all for naught. Humble Gamer goes down. There goes Arctic Wolf as well. Everybody but Godzilla Flip, who gets out with just the smidgen of HP. Everyone else on the side of Shawnee State does go down, but the one benefit there for Shawnee is that they did get that Infernal Dragon, putting them up to 2. But with that team fight going as poorly as it did for them, that is going to allow St. Clair to take yet another turret. And now Saints, in regards to gold, have not only caught back up, but find themselves in a bit of a lead. And they found that bot turret. They're probably going to get this mid one as well. So overall, perfect timing there for St. Clair, abusing the fact that Jerbear did not have his Onslaught Shadows and just completely messed them up nice and quick. And I feel like the Shockwave from Humble Gamer just was not as effective as maybe he was hoping for it. I don't know if he just slightly mispositioned it or once, but I know personally I did not quite catch it, to say the least there. Another couple minutes before that next Infernal Dragon. Another one going to be coming out here onto Summer's Rift in just a second. Baron Asher going to be right around the corner as well within a minute. Some more objectives going to come into play. And at this point here, Saints, they have every tier 1 turret taken down here for the side of Shawnee. Shawnee still has a little bit of work to do in that regard, which means there is still some gold technically unclaimed left on the table here as long as they are able to eventually get to it. We do see Lazzy here going to stop Godzilla Flip and Mitchfortune from being able to take that easily, but okay, I guess Mansfield is here as well, so they're going to be able to defend this mid lane for just a bit longer. Kubra up in the top lane does still have his teleport, so he can jump in at a moment's notice. Arctic Wolf going to get jumped on, but he is relatively tanky now. He may not necessarily do a ton of damage, but he is an absolute unit to try and deal with here. Would definitely be the best case scenario for Shawnee. If Arctic Wolf could just find a way to be the first one into the fight, then that's beautiful. But the way this is kind of set up here, unless Arctic Wolf finds a way to use his ultimate, to use his big charge to get in there first, I feel like it's always going to be Bear who dives in, which because he went that Trinity Force route, yes, he does damage, but he gives up a little bit of tank in order to do so. So, in theory, yes, the Saints are going to get feared if he finds the proper engagement, but they could all kind of turn on to him and just try to blow him up. And then in that dragon fight as well, Mitchfortune basically got blown up in the back of the dragon pit before the fight even really got the chance to really ramp up. So he had very little to no effect on that team fight, which is absolutely not what you want to see from your AD carry. Baron on the board, Dragon around the corner in a minute 30. Prez slowly but surely actually kind of catching up here in regards to his farming. So has a couple items for himself, which good that Galio needs to tank up a little bit. So being able to farm up a little bit is definitely going to help him big time. Some okay damage there from Lazzy. Just off of one rocket alone, does a decent chunk to the squishiness of Mitchfortune. So over the length of a team fight, definitely going to be watching for Lazzy's damage, alongside that extra rocket damage too from that ultimate, that big execute. And sure enough, with 40 seconds left before the dragon spawns, everybody on the Saints are backing up to get back, and so is Shawnee. So we're going to have ourselves yet another big battle here for this dragon. And Shawnee definitely would love to have 2 Infernal Drakes. That boosts their damage so much to begin with. And then putting them on Soul Point to get an Infernal Drake Soul and doing more damage, that'd be huge. Mitchfortune instantly getting out of position all the way down to the point where his stopwatch has to be used. But is there going to be a finishing blow, or is he going to survive? Miensfo is actually going to flash on in to make sure that kill is secured. And this is absolutely best case scenario here for St. Clair. Godzilla Flip, there is no way he's going to get out of this one unless he's an Absol. Okay, he's actually a god. Holy smokes. He managed to get out of there beautifully. But with that being done, Mitchfortune again, poor positioning, going to really just mess up any chance of Shawnee State having a proper team fight. And this time, Saints are going to absolutely capitalize on it, rather. Take that dragon nice and quick, and now their eyes are focused on Baron Nashor. Mitchfortune, of course, still isn't even spawned, so if the Shawnee State University squad want to contest this, it has to be 4v5. And to be fair, Saints have themselves some pretty decent damage, and they still have the Gnar ultimate as well to try and turn this in a narrow condition. And they're going to do that. They're all bunched up here. Look for Kubra. Where is he going to jump on in? Here comes the Onslaught of Shadows. It's going to make things a little bit messy there for Actiforce. Does go down. That's going to be Jared Bear in the background, kind of getting stunned up a little bit. Kubra trying to deal with them, but it's not going to be enough. Lassie does go down. Miensfo extremely low as well. Frez in the middle of everything, but not going to be enough. It may have been a 4v5, but it was long enough that Mitchfortune could actually get himself into the fight. Triple kill to Jared Bear, and now the Baron is likely going to go over into the pocket of Shawnee State University as well. Kubra is still hovering around, though. He's not going to have any sort of Narbar to try and deal with anything. Wonder if he's going to try and make a poke for it, but nicely done there from Arctic Wolf, however. Really confirmed and made sure that he chased Kubra out of there. So Shawnee State University are going to make sure they get that Baron, and they'll be all juiced up for the next couple of minutes here. in this battle. So sure, they lost the first team fight. Or, they lost the first team fight, but they only lost Mitch Fortune. But when Saints lost the team fight, they lost 4 plus a Baron. So overall, absolute profit here for the side of Shawnee State University. They take their lead back. Just about a 2,000 gold lead in their favor right now. Do see Godzilla Flip, however, getting himself a little bit caught off guard. He was a master of escaping last time, but I mean, I don't know how you get out of that one. He is going to end up going down. Active Force going to find himself his 3rd kill of the game here. But low-key props to Godzilla Flip, though. That Dragon Fight escape definitely had me baffled, to say the least, as we do see the ultimate coming out here from Arctic Wolf is going to go straight into the rock, Georgia the Jungle style, just going to get shut down right away. Kubra, Nar form or Mega form available. Bear is going to get scooped aside. That might have been enough to blow him up, but he's going to get stopwatch. It's going to be just in time. The rest of the team there just in time, rather, to keep him safe. The Unstoppable from Active Force is going to run out, though. And Bear, he actually wants more. He's charging on in here. Arctic Wolf already used his ultimate, so he cannot chase worth a damn in this situation. So Saints should be able to escape with their lives, just barely, with themselves just spaced up just enough that the Onslaught Shadows from Bear would not be able to reach. Man, I tell you what, it's been a close back-and-forth series so far, and it is just game 1. And Humble Gamer getting jumped on just a little bit. Frez going to think otherwise and make his way back here. But the fact that these games, or this game's already so close, and we've not seen Shawnee State, I guess, have a perfect team fight, if you will, like a properly executed one. Like, I've not seen it go where either Arctic Wolf or Bear carry the Orianna ball and get the perfect shockwave and perfect setup. However, here comes the unstoppable Arctic Wolf, and okay, Lassie is going to get absolutely popped here. The extra little ace in a hole damage from Mitch Fortune as well, just to help secure that kill. Going to give Bear his 9th kill of this game. This pony is scary, and Lassie had absolutely no hope for that one. Infernal Dragon number 3 coming up here. In total, Dragon number 5 right around the corner. 30 seconds. Lassie is going to have to spawn and just absolutely beeline it towards that Dragon fight. Otherwise, it's going to be his team. Or his team on the 4v5, rather. And I don't think we're quite at this point yet, but in just like a couple more minutes, I feel like even if Bear jumps in, like dumps all of his damage, and like just straight up dies, I think he may still be able to just buy enough time for the rest of his team to start doing enough damage. I mean, 7 assists for the Orianna Humble Gamer, and then Mitch Fortune as well. It's going to be scary. We're going to see Frez dive on in, but he gets knocked out of his taunts. Just going to very quickly go into stopwatch form, and he's going to end up just get popped anyway. Dragon does go into the favor of Shawnee State as well, and it looks like as of right now, they're winning the team fight as well. 2 Saints are down. It's going to be Godzilla Flip. Hook is not going to make contact. Saints running for the hills. Lassie going down in the top lane really slowed down the Saints from trying to get to that Dragon. They're going to lose 2. Shawnee's going to be on Infernal Soul Point. They can find 1 more, and it's actually going to be yet another Infernal Drake as well. I've never seen so many Infernal Drakes in my life. Going to be so much damage across the board here if they do find that soul. I mean, there's so much damage to begin with, but just adding the soul on top of it is going to be insane. Glorpthord in the chat catching my little slip where I said clap instead of something else. I see you. You caught me. Okay, I'll give you props for that one. Whoopsie. Baron Asher going to be on the board too in just a couple of seconds. We see Actifor is going to try and clear out at least some of this vision. Not going to be able to get rid of that Scuttle Crab vision though, of course, so... Really can't sneak anything in this situation. And Saints, they're not that far behind. Only like 1 or 2 to maybe 3,000. Jerbear, we see as soon as he pops his one ability, he pops his E, he just gets so much bonus movement speed. Going to be a hard champion to stop. And now, with 10 seconds to go, see Lousy with a bit of a late back. Should be able to still get back just in time for it to spawn, but as right now, nobody on the side of Shawnee State looking to make the move yet. They want to try and maybe find one pick before opting for that Baron Asher play, which fair enough. Couple of quiet moments here. Saints just farming up the best they can, but also same thing there with Shawnee, of course, in looking at Lazzy and then the Humble Gamer in regards to the highest amount of creep score. Just constantly farming up here to the point where Orianna eventually, especially into late game, more of a utility kind of mage with a little bit of damage on top in the early to mid game. But once it gets to the late game, this Ori can hit like a truck as well. So now, with almost 300 minions killed, so much gold in the bank, and so many assists on top of that, let alone the 2 kills, the Humble Gamer has become a threat himself as well. Has a little bit of safety as well with the Seraphs, as well as I believe that is the Hourglass. So if he does end up getting jumped on by Active Force or Kubra, can just pop that item and be A-okay for just a couple moments. Baron being hovered around by some of the members of St. Clair. A couple of the members on the side of Shawnee are not in a position to make the rotate over. And I think Saints are realizing that. They have some pretty decent vision here, and it's going to force a teleport from Arctic Wolf to get himself here. But upon the resources being blown, the Saints are going to try and just ditch it and run for the hills with the help of Miensfo's movement speed and shielding. Lassie looking to back, but if Shawnee turns on the Baron themselves, it could be nasty, but it's not going to be the case. In fact, some of Shawnee are starting to back up as well. Because here's the dilemma. Do you really try a Baron right now? Within the next 30 seconds, another Infernal Drake will be making its way into the bottom side of that river, and Saints definitely going to prioritize that one, considering it is Soul Point if Jer Bear and the rest of the Shawnee State University squad can secure this dragon, getting that additional buff for the entire game compared to just the temporary Baron buff for maybe a little bit of it for a couple minutes. Kubra trying to charge his ultimate, but has to back up for a second here. Shawnee State in position. Frez is going to be forced to pop his Zanyas, and this is going to be the engagement, but nice sneak attack here for Actiforce. Dives right on in onto Mitch Fortune. He's got so much shielding on top of him as well. There is absolutely nothing Mitch Fortune can do. Lots of low health bars here in this battle. Arctic Wolf is getting extremely low as well, but here comes the Orianna that I was worried about. The Humble Gamer charges on through. Lazzy has been slain. Where in the world is Kubra in all of this? He does eventually teleport in, but the timing was just completely off. He is going to find a 2-player ultimate, but can he somehow turn this one around? It's going to be extremely difficult. He's going to try. It's a 3-player stun. Nice shot there from Kubra, but can he kite as much as possible? Find himself a couple more. Can he stall out this dragon? Maybe even get the steal or something. This is absolutely rough here for St. Clair. If this dragon does go down, it is going to be the soul over there, and that is going to be the case. Shawnee State do secure the soul, and Kubra is going to get staggered, going to take him down as well. The fact that Kubra had to go back really messed up that fight, and he teleports in basically once the damage was already done on the side of Shawnee State University. So Absolute worst case scenario here for St. Clair. Give up the team fight with all 5 of them going down. They give up that Infernal Dragon, and then, of course, give up the Infernal Soul. Every team fight from here on out, you see the red ring around Mitch Fortune here, but everybody on the side of Shawnee State will have that ring. That means they have that buff. Bunch of additional damage, basically across every single hit. Not going to really see it here with Godzilla Flip or Arctic Wolf, considering they're not necessarily the damaging members for their squads. But wow, just so much respect has to be given here from St. Clair, and then for Active Force, just the thought of a hook coming out, forcing the Ragnarok to come out, blow that ultimates for another like minute or so. So what's better than 1 buff? 2 buffs. Let's go get Baron, is what Shawnee State is thinking. Porting this over quickly. Active Force is here, but he is not going to be able to steal that with that Undertow. Going to end up going down. Here comes the Unstoppable Onslaught, or Onslaught Shadows rather, there from Bear. Takes care of Active Force nice and quick. The rest of the Saints, they're way too far to try and do anything about this. There is going to be a lot of damage done quickly here from the Shawnee State University squad. There goes 1 tower, the last Tier 1 tower up in this game. Finally going to pick that one up. And now the Saints, for the longest time, they're like 2,000 to 3,000 gold behind this Shawnee State squad. Now we're looking at more like 8 to 10 with the way that this is going. Minions did manage to take a turret there for the side of Shawnee, but it's not going to matter when the rest of this squad is tearing through your inhibitors like it's nobody's business. They absolutely shred through it. Super Minion's going to be coming through the top very shortly, and then Saints' hope of taking this game is just ever so slowly dwindling here. Kubra and the rest of the squad looking to try and make a play. Those traps there from Mitch Fortune's Caitlyn going to slow things down, keep them all safe. A couple of them forced to run away, but they're going to be able to get out of dodge just fine here. And now Saints, they basically have absolutely nothing to really try and get in this situation. If they try to get to their jungle creeps, they have to worry about getting ganked from Shawnee State. Safest thing that they can really do is just, I guess, farm those super minions up in the top lane, which we do see Lassie taking care of. They're just going to dump all that gold onto him. Really try to make this late game Jinx play work in their favor. And of course, Lassie specifically not necessarily having himself a standout game here. 1 kill, 4 assists, 4 deaths. So not to the superstar Lassie that we've seen a couple times here across the seasons, where it seems like a pentakill was basically a given. Bear, however, is going to find himself hooked up. That's going to be a nice lantern coming out here from Godzilla Flip to keep him alive. But Active Force getting extremely low. That's going to get Kubra getting caught by the hook. The way that he finds these hooks is absolutely amazing. But nobody is going to end up going down here. A little bit of a trickle fight there for the side of Shawnee. But at the end of the day, sure, they lose a little bit of health, but they have the Baron regen. They're going to be able to stick around just that much longer. And with Godzilla Flip just being so strong here in this support role, keeping everybody alive while also being a fantastic engager in his own right, they're going to be able to take this inhibitor just fine and probably get out of dodge. They could probably even take this fight, even though they're not necessarily full health. Look how much damage that 1 auto attack did to Active Force, but it very well may not matter. Lassie does find 1, but he gets caught by the Orianna Shockwave. The Humble Gamer right on target, hits exactly who he needs to, and there is the ultimate coming out of Bear. Now the pony is tearing through everybody, and you have Mitch Fortune completely untouched in the back line. That should be game here for the side of Shawnee State. In fact, they're just going to drop the GGs prior to even getting the Nexus killed. Definitely feeling good about themselves, definitely feeling confident, and to be fair, rightfully so. They're going to take game number 1 in relatively convincing fashion, considering the way that that ending kind of ended up. A little bit of a rough finish there for the St. Clair squad. The first couple minutes, like the early game, just got dominated by Bear for the most part. And the by Jer Bear and Godzilla flip, basically. They took control of that early game and really made things difficult there for St. Clair. But then the mid game, Saints kept it even. They kept it extremely close, but unfortunately, just could not keep it going there in the late game, whether it be Lazi getting caught or Kuber being a little bit slow to a fight, or just the team's positioning in general, finding it so that they just got killed pretty quickly. That was a tough composition to try and play around, and unfortunately for the Saints side of things, they did get blown up pretty quickly. Big props there to the side of Shawnee State, though, because they did exactly what they needed to do. With that being said, though, we're going to get into a quick break to set up the lobby for game number 2. Let's see if our Saints squad can fight their way back. Going to be a tough task, but I mean, we've taken this Shawnee State squad before. No, or there's definitely a chance that we can do it again. 2-1. And best of 3 action, which means, of course, the Saints have to pull it off and pull it off right here, right now. We're going to hop into about a 5-minute break and we'll catch you on the other side.